Happy Homebrew Wednesday, B's and G's. This week's episode is brought to you by Brew Tubers, the online brewing club. AccuMash, to get your water right for your mash. And Bouncer, to keep the dregs out. So, what we've got going on is a tasting of the beer that I made with AccuMash. Did that a couple of weeks ago now. Actually, it's been 3.5 weeks since I brewed this beer. And this is the Vernal Equinox from the Zymergy January-February edition. And made it with DI water, so deionized water, and the brewing salts. And that's it, the packet that was slotted for a hoppy ale that was light golden to an amber color. So I was quite happy with how that worked the day of. I mean, everything seemed to be pretty much on point, and brew day went well. Wort sample tasted good. So let's see what this tastes like and smells like. Well, the aromas are fantastic. They're you kind of get that juicy tropical thing that Galaxy does, but it's rounded off with like this floral and almost like a green pepper touch for the aroma. Like fresh cut green pepper, the way it kind of just hits you in the kitchen, but you know, it smells a little bit like green pepper. It's very inviting, a very unique aroma, and the beer turned out great. The clarity is pretty good. I actually used some gelatin in this because in addition to the standard recipe, I also added dry hops. I put 3 ounces of dry hops in it, so I did kind of dry hop it pretty good for the 5 gallons. So let's get a taste. My dog's back here making a bunch of noise. What I've noticed on this beer since it's been on tap for about a week, a little over a week now, it's evolved a little bit. It definitely pops. It definitely has a very bright hop character. It's balanced quite well with the malts. It's not just a single malt hop bill or just some two-row and carapils. It's got a little bit more going on. It's got some melanoidin and it's got some Crystal 60, I think. Yeah, I'm going from memory. I'm not going to look it up, but I talk about it in the brew day video. It is not sticking around. It is it's a great tasting beer. 6.7% is where it came out. I would have to say that the AccuMash really did a great job on this. I have been brewing beers here with my water just out of the tap. We have really, really good brewing water here in Georgia. It's a little, well, it's quite soft, but it has, I don't know, it just has a tendency to you add a little bit, you don't have to add a lot to it to make it very, tailored to whatever style you're brewing. So I'm really happy with the water here locally. So I think that this would work phenomenally if you were in a place where you had super hard water or you had a lot of minerals, those kind of things. Get some reverse osmosis water going and use their packets for the style that you are looking for. So their website is accu-mash, so accu-mash.com. You should go check them out. I'm going to put a link below. Great folks, really, really personable, and you can get their products at a lot of homebrew shops and some online retailers as well. So look into them, check them out. If you've got some water issues, if you're like, I don't want to get all the salts and buy all the stuff individually, these packs are pretty reasonable in price. Pick them up. throw them in, I would say definitely worth it. The other thing I want to talk about is the bouncer. The bouncer is a inline beer filter, if you guys aren't familiar with it. Mine's actually attached to my auto siphon, as you'll see coming up. I'm going to cut here and let you guys see for yourself me using the bouncer. This beer that I'm drinking now was went through the bouncer. So this is the beer that you'll see me racking over to the keg from the secondary. So enjoy. It's really hot in this garage. You can see I'm glistening because it's super hot. I'm gonna bust off of here, get into some air conditioning, and enjoy the rest of this cold beverage before it gets warm. And I'll see you guys soon. Cheers. Make sure to check these guys out. It's the Bouncer and AccuMash. The Bouncer, you can find them online at www.bouncer.beer. So that's pretty cool. So Bouncer and AccuMash. Cheers to them. Great meeting you guys at the HomebrewCon 2017 in Minneapolis. And cheers to some great products. Check it out. See you next week. Don't forget to homebrew up. What's up? A little additional footage here. I'm going to show off a product. It's the Bouncer. And met with the guys from Bouncer at HomebrewCon. And we got to talking. And they said, well, why don't you try one out? Do a little video, give us an honest opinion, and share it with everybody. So here it is. It's brand new. Got the scissors in the back here. I'm going to go ahead and take it right off the cardboard. So this thing is made in the USA, designed in the USA. These guys are out of North Carolina. I love the simple packaging. You don't need to get crazy. I like the fact that it doesn't have the cellophane or the plastic, hard plastic wrap around it. So that's I'm going to give you guys kudos on that. And there it is. It is a fairly straightforward piece of tech. You've got barb fittings on either side. These are 3/8 inch barb fittings. This one is pretty much intended to be used on a siphon. So you can see here I've got my siphon. I've got some beer over there I'm about to rack over to a keg, and it's got a filter inside. So it's a little polycarbonate type, I'm sorry, this is nylon. It says it right on the bottom, so it's not polycarbonate, it is nylon, but it's food grade, BPA free. And there's that guy. This one is intended to be used pretty much at room temperature up to, or cold, a little cold would be fine, up to 150 degrees, but no more than 150 degrees according to the packaging, and not under pressure. So you don't want to do this in a pressurized transfer, but I would think that it could handle some pressure. If you did a low PSI closed transfer. So there it is, very straightforward. I'm going to go ahead and get this thing sanitized and put it in line on my siphon, and we're going to get it racked into a keg. Oh, what is it? That is the Vernal Equinox, and although the recipe didn't call for it, I threw 3 ounces of dry hops in there, and they've been sitting in there for 3 days. So we'll see how well this thing does with my fairly lackadaisical process for the racking. Usually we'll cold crash right in the secondary in the carboy, but this time we're just going straight through. Let's see how she does. Alright, let's look at this hardware a little bit closer. Here we've got the filter screen, stainless steel in a nylon cage, and you can see it's a little coarse, but after talking to the guys and the guys at Bouncer and looking at some videos online, it actually does a surprisingly good job at filtering some larger and some smaller particulates from coming through. So I went ahead and cut my line and put this in line here. I did seal it up and kind of push some sanitizer through it just to see how it flowed, and there's no restrictions there. So let's go ahead and flip this thing over. As you can see, it's got a kind of an embossed my engineering brain is failing me, but you can see it's got an inner chamber here, and the tube comes through. You can see the hole, so it comes into the center, and then it will push through the filter. And then the second hole, second side, it's not there, it's actually through the outer diameter. So it's an inner and an outer chamber. This guy goes on and kind of fits right over that centerpiece. Let me see if I can get it to fit like it just did. Yeah, so it's actually a very snug fit, very well molded. The diameters are almost a perfect match, and doesn't take much effort to get it to sit in there. And then the canister filter holder jobby it's right there. And there is a gasket in there. It looks like it is a silicone. At least it appears to be. Maybe it's not. Maybe there's some other material, but it does appear to be kind of like a red silicone type gasket. So there you go. Oh, I was watching myself and not the camera. There you go. So then that goes right on, threads on. If you're like me and kind of heavy-handed, close the pickle jar, you want to probably not put so much force on it. It doesn't really take much. And then especially with the when it's wetted with sanitizer, it's going to screw on a lot easier. So as I found with trying to take it off just a moment ago, it's easy to over tighten that, so keep that in mind. Alright, let's get this thing sanitized up and put it to use. There you go. Alright, let's put it into action. Alright, so I am going to be a little bit cautious here when I'm racking, because that's what I normally do anyway. But you can see I've got the bouncer in line there. Let's go ahead and see how she does. And a lot of times what I'll do is I will run my racking through a paint filter strainer or paint strainer, just to try to remove some of that debris and whatnot. This is my first test. You can see it is flowing through there. Really no restrictions, no leaks. 3/8 tubing. I guess the real truth is going to be, real proof here is going to be once we get down to the bottom, and if I get any of that stuff that's down at the bottom. So far so good. There is a keg down there. I'm going straight in. No restriction on flow. It's flowing quite nicely. I do see a few particulates kind of getting through the filter screen. Let's see if I can zoom in on it for you guys. Okay. So this is kind of a heavily dry hopped beer. There you go. So you can kind of see what's going on. My only real concern, not so much as getting some of the hop debris into the keg, is getting so much that it clogs my poppet valve. And there's nothing worse. I do see some hot material kind of floating around inside the filter, so that's reassuring. So you can see that the filter actually seats on the bottom of the cartridge, the clear vinyl or nylon. If you look in there, you can see, oh, I don't want to break my siphon here, but you can see that there's some material floating around inside there. See it? Yep. Definitely hops. Tell you what, we're going to go ahead and put this thing to the test. I'm going to drop this thing down into the bottom of the fermenter just to kind of see what she's made of. This is where I'm a little concerned with it breaking the siphon, maybe clogging up. Let's see. She's certainly filled up, but it is still flowing. So now it's acting a bit like a hop back. What we're seeing, back this out, what we're seeing here is some of that CO2 coming out of suspension. Alright, so I'm going to see if we can move this along. Maybe not the best move, but let's see if we can go ahead and get the siphon to flow again. Alright, so looks like I was able to clog it up pretty good. So imagine if this was the fine screen, that would definitely be a problem. I think as long as you, and you can see I broke my siphon, I think as long as you siphon carefully and don't drop it into the muck, I kind of did that as a test, I think that it probably would have done fine. So let me see if I can get this sorted, because I want to get the beer into the keg and get some CO2 on it. So here you can see I did kind of clog it up pretty good. Just going to go ahead and try to knock some of those hops out of there, get rid of this mess. So I'm going to go rinse that out and then re-sanitize it, get it back in action. Yeah. So here we are, completely re-sanitized, cleaned up. Alright, there we go. So I haven't done anything with this, I just left it kind of hanging there. Go ahead and put that back in place. And let's get the siphon going again. Yeah, I stirred up some muck, I don't care, because this bad boy's going to take care of it. Alright, so we're flowing again. I'm going to keep it out of the thick tube in the bottom and see if it can get through the rest of this siphon. Looks to be back on track.